Yep.
With education, how about after
I wouldn't put high school on there. I mean, you've all graduated from high school, we know that. You're not gonna be where you are unless you didn't. But say you've taken, this is your second degree, and 4 years ago you went to Laurier for kid visit. We want to see that. We want to do that. It's not insanely important, but you know, I think it's good to know. Yeah,
What if it's like I finished most of a degree, but not all of it, but I still mention it?
I would. Sure, yeah. You know, you could put in progress. No, I don't know.
You can, well, you
completed 3 years.
right, a 4-year program, and then
Yeah, I think it doesn't hurt because it shows academics and responsibilities. Yep.
Do you think preference as to which institution we went to? Like,
No.
You sound like in England. That's what they did when I grew up there.
If you went to law school at certain place, you have preference.
well, I
to
think
get
they
a job.
still do that in certain professions, but not in nursing, no.
See, it just takes one person to ask a question and
Yeah.
it goes on.
I just have a point, for help with resumes, the Career Center at York, they have lots of workshops on how to make resumes, cover letters, if you even want any help with applying for jobs. So on the York site to go, I've used it before and it helps a lot, and then go through things like this as well. This is obviously more focused on nursing, but if you let them know you're going to nursing, they can maybe tailor it. So definitely check out the Career Center at York.
I know that when I went to Laurier, I went and I got this whole booklet about how to write a resume and all this kind of stuff, so they probably have, I would think, something like that
Yeah,
as
they have a
well.
whole wall information. They
So
have workshops like this.
definitely utilize those resources, that's what they're there for. Anything else about resumes?
Now, how are we doing with time? Here we thought we need an hour.
Yeah.
Charles, how are you
Okay,
on time?
Charles?
30 sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good?
What's our timeline here? Well, we'll go, and you give us the whole time.
You got your interview.
Yeah, we've got the interview. Yeah.
I have not much at all to say. I was here to, I brought Jody from RNAO, and that's what
And as we said, we will give out the presentation as well. But we can just maybe quickly, like in 5 minutes.
Yes, perfect.
And then you can grab some pizza, and then we'll get back after your lunch and your pizza.
Okay, so your interview.
Yeah, so be prepared, number one thing. You know yourself, know your education, your experience, your skills. Understand the position that you've just applied for. So understand the organization, the hospital. You know, we love it when you sort of talk the talk, that you impress us. Impress us that you know that, University Health Network stands for 3 hospitals and some of our priority programs. Nurse managers love to hear this stuff when you know about the hospital that you work for, that you're applying for.
The interview part, guys, please make sure that you do some research about the unit that you are going to be applying to, okay? I'll tell you one of the key questions for you, HM. We are going to ask you about patients in good care, your understanding of what it means, and honestly, don't try to wing it because we are into patients in good care, okay? So make sure you know exactly what you're talking about, and that's very important.
I have never, I don't want to say, sat in on a nursing interview. Very clinical based. I can't pretend that I know what to do if someone codes out or something like that. So, but for sure, like Olga said, know the unit, know what you're talking about. They're bound to ask you something like, what can you do for us? What's on your resume? Why should we hire you over this person here? What on your resume? What have you done? What personality? What extracurricular activities makes you more impressive, makes you the better candidate for my unit than these other 5 people that we interviewed.
Some of the questions that I usually ask on my youth, we need to know from you, we ask a lot about conflict management, right? Conflict resolution. How do you deal with conflicts? That's very important. The other thing I usually ask about is about team, because we all know that when you work in a healthcare organization, there are teams, and we need to know from you, who do you believe the members of the teams are? You know, some people come in the interview and they say, well, the teams are the nurses and the doctors. You know what? The team, honestly, I would even put the doctors at the very bottom, because the teams for me are the people who are working on the unit plus the doctors. You know what I mean? So make sure you know that sort of thing. We're not, honestly, I have never asked anyone about what grade that you ever received or anything. I want to know how you are with people and how you feel about patients. And I'll tell you, somebody came on my unit once to work, orientated, and in day 3 she came to me and she said, Olga, I don't really like working with old people. And guys, so I told you that I've been nursing 40 years, so you can just add the numbers and know that I'm getting up there. But you know what I said to this nurse? I'm afraid for you to be my nurse. And I said, your orientation is finished. So I'll tell you, please, you're nursing aging population, depending on which hospitals you go to. You can go to Sunnybrook or some of the hospitals in the outskirts rather than downtown teaching hospitals. There are a lot of aged people in hospitals. So if you're coming to hospital looking to look after teenagers, etc., I will suggest that you start looking at cities, because that's where you're going to see young people. In any other hospitals, you are going to see very aged patients, and they can vary from 80 to 103. If you're not prepared, don't apply.
I think in nursing, there's a high level of sensitivity that you need to so just keep that in mind. So types of questions asked.
As I said, we can give this information by time.
You guys all had interviews before, I'm sure, so it'll be a little bit of everything.
But key things to keep in mind, like ways to win the interview. Show that you're pleased to be there. As Olga had mentioned, positive body language. Don't come with lumps, sitting in the chair, chewing your gum. They notice that. And, listen, ask questions. Sometimes when you ask, think that, the panel is asking you questions, and everybody's like, to ask a question. They like it when you ask questions.
You come to an interview, if there's a mess and you're in or whatever.
And I'll try to give always actual examples as well. Sometimes it's great to be a little creative and come up with stories, but sometimes you get caught in that. You get caught throughout the interview.
Question earlier you mentioned about knowing the unit. So in order to know the unit, you have to be there to the unit. So do you have a problem with person contacting the hospital asking for that manager of the unit?
Not at all. The same to me when if I should apply for not doing anything right, you better believe I'm going to go talk to people to find out about what they do, what they do with people like that. And you can encourage you. Alright, so you go and you find out about the more you know about the area that you are applying for, the better you are, right?
There's also on our websites, on the nursing websites, descriptions of each profiles, all the units, what they cover. Any questions? Chelsea's going to talk to you a little bit about more, if you want to get more information, how you can do that, but.
And there's one area, it's interesting how sometimes we do ask, like, what are your 3 areas of interest? So obviously these are people who don't know UHN. We get, labor and delivery, obstetrics and so forth, or pediatrics. Well, guess what, UHN doesn't have any of that, so, you know, things like that, you know, just get to know the organization, the hospital that you're applying to. Okay,
Any other questions?
will we move on?
We'll be here at the end, so if you
Yeah.
have anything, just feel free. Thank you. So a good transition, the question about how do I get more information about the unit, the patient population, how large is the unit, all of that, that's kind of how I come into play. My name is Nov52010. I'm the coordinator of nursing transitions and commitment, and I'm with the corporate nursing office at UHN. I office out of TG, but I certainly supply support to all of the nursing students that pass through our corridors and all the new hires across all the sites. So part of the reason I wanted to be here today is to let you know that you certainly have a broad experience with your clinical placements, but perhaps there's an area that you wanted to explore, but you just didn't have the luck of the draw of getting an opportunity to go to a department like that. Please feel free to use me as a resource, and I would be happy to connect you either with new hires, new grad hires that we've brought on board over the past 4 or 5 years. Also happy to connect you with our advanced practice nurse educators on the unit. These are the individuals that are actually going to provide you your department orientations if you choose to come to UHN. They have an incredible breadth of knowledge and experience, and those are the questions that perhaps Andrea, Linda, and myself can't answer because we're not nurses. We don't have that clinical experience. The advanced practice nurse educator certainly would be able to do that. So I encourage you to reach out to us. I have some materials at the front. The brochure here is all about UHN and the various program areas that we do have. My business card is on the front. You can contact me by email or phone. I recommend email, it's faster. On the inside, you'll notice a blue card. The blue card on the back has all sorts of social media outlets that UHN uses. So UHN is tweeting, we are blogging, we are on Facebook, and I can see some eyebrows already raised. I'm not interested in what you did this weekend. I don't look at people's photographs. There's a very clear disclaimer. I know how many members are a part of our group. I don't look at profiles. Our Human Resources Department does not look at profiles of individuals. If you are concerned about that, I would recommend creating a secondary email account and creating a professional profile for yourself on Facebook. We use Facebook to push information out. So for example, if we have a nurse who is doing a research study that is geared towards new graduates that are at UHN, we'll post that on our Facebook site in order to get volunteers to participate. York UHN Academy that was just recently launched with Gail Mitchell, who's a faculty member here at the School of Nursing at York. That information was posted. So again, it's just to post and get information out to individuals. We do have folks that are on the discussion board as well. And so what we've done there is I've embedded subject matter experts on Facebook. So for example, if you're interested in learning more about this northern nursing experience where UHN nurses go up north to our partner sites, you can learn more about that by going on the discussion board, and then Viva Zarens, who's the project manager for that particular program, will be the one responding, not me, because she's going to have the details that you're going to need. We're also tweeting, so there's a UHN tweet, there's also UHN Velta. So again, information out, and that would be things like conferences, events that are coming up, things of that nature. So we are trying to get plugged in and use technology as much as we possibly can. Some of the other things I just wanted to highlight for you in my role. I do meet with all the clinical placement students when they come to UHN and the student groups if they're in first or second year. And so I'm putting myself out there for you to use me and ask questions. And one of the things is that the economic recovery has not been as swift as we had all hoped. UHN does continue to hire. It's
substantially more limited over the past 2 years than it was previously. And I know that Andrea and Linda touched on a few of the do's and don'ts. I just wanted to highlight again, it is absolutely imperative to do your homework. Make sure that you research